Good morning, everyone. What's up? What's up? Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Monday, September the 15th. As for the overall markets, Qs, kind of all-time highs here. The main thing is Tesla. We had a big move last week on Thursday, Friday, breaking outside of the weekly base that we created. Friday, nice push towards the upside, really staying strong all day. And now you can see over the weekend as well. We actually just recently had some news in the pre-market, and now we are up about another 8%. This one, we'll talk about this here in a second for Tesla, but we basically been up really 3 days in a row without any significant pullback. This one well above 400 here as well now. We'll talk about some of the levels coming to market open, our game plan here. Before we do that, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Robert, Wallace, Moni, Nontali, good morning, B Roots, Ryan, Chris, Senna, Victor, Willie, Enix, Martin, Jen, Miss Reggie, good morning, 50, SL, good morning, Eileen, good morning, James, Melissa, Life, Co, Juan, True, Darth, Daniel, Hartik. Yeah. What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Let's first talk about the weekly outlook. We also do have FOMC later into the week as well. So that's going to be key, at least for the overall indices themselves. But let's first talk about the weekly outlook and what we're looking at coming to this week as for the economic calendar and some other events that we do have. So first things first, as you can see here, for the key economic events, really, we don't have too much red folder news besides FOMC statement this week. On Tuesday, we do have core retail sales. That is going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday, we have FOMC. So this is the big one, FOMC statement along with the press conference. That's going to be at 2 p.m. along with 2:30 p.m. And then on Friday, we have unemployment here once again. So really coming to this week, the main thing here is the FOMC statement, which is going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then for the earnings, basically all the earnings have passed. We had Oracle last week, which really drove the market, at least SPY specifically, towards the upside. But now really let's go on to the major indices and then the rest of the names here as well. So all right, before we do that, as always, if you guys haven't joined the watch list, or sorry, the wait list for the event, that's officially live now as well. So we do have an event at the end of the month, a 3-day event. That one's going to be really good. If you haven't watched the announcement for that one, it was in my last YouTube video, but we also have the wait list for the event now officially live. So that one's in the description. So if you guys want to sign up, you guys can do so. If you guys haven't joined the watch list, of course, that one's in the description. If you guys are enjoying these, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like. So first things first, let's go on to the ES. Let's talk about the thesis coming to this week. So nice break towards, nice break above the 6520 level last week on the ES. And now you can see that we're continuing to push towards the upside. What I'd like to see coming to next week is a reaction that we have off your 6520. That will be the key level moving forward. We also have FOMC this week, which will be the key news driver. So as you can see here for the ES, really on this higher time frames, we're continuing to make higher lows. We broke above key levels last week, which was our key pivot high from 2 weeks ago. This was the day that we created here on Friday of 2 weeks, which was your 6540. Now you can see we're above this level. We're continuing to push towards the upside. If we go into the 1 hour chart, key levels that we have marked out, as you can see, your 6540, nice break above, retest, continuation towards the upside. Now the key levels we're going to have marked out is last week's highs. You can see higher lows are being built. As long as you can maintain above now your last week's highs, we can see this continue push towards the upside. So this is what we have for the ES coming to market open. We're just going to mark out your Thursdays and Fridays highs. And now if you can break above it, hold above your last Friday's highs, we'd like to see continuation towards the upside. So key levels that I have marked out, we could actually even refine this here now as well. It's just going to be your Thursday's highs, and then we can mark it out to your Friday's bodies if you like. and we can extend this one over, which in this case is going to be our 6600. So 6600 is going to be our key level. As long as you can maintain it, we can expect continuation towards the upside. As for SPY, key levels that we have in this case, exact same thesis here for the SPY. It's going to be your Friday's highs along with your Thursday's key level here as well. You can maintain above your 658.50. We can see this nice continued push towards the upside. So we're still making higher lows. We're still very much intact towards the upside. We do have FOMC on Wednesday, but as long as you can maintain levels here on Monday and Tuesday, I do expect the markets to slowly grind towards the upside since we are now at all-time highs. We are in uncharted territory since we are at all-time highs, but as long as you can maintain key levels, right, we can be looking for key psych levels, right, 660s, 661s, and just higher time frame key pivot points here as well. So for the SPY key level, previous day highs along with your Thursday's high here as well. We do expect, as long as you can maintain key levels, as I mentioned, continuation towards the upside. So for the NQ and the NASDAQ, NQ finally made all-time highs. You can see this one is lagging the ES. Most names have not hit all-time highs, whereas the NQ is there. What I like to see coming to next week is the reaction that we have off your 24,000. That will be the key moving forward. So for the NASDAQ, as you can see here on the daily chart, we have basically this previous all-time highs pivot point. So we have this previous all-time highs pivot point. We actually just hit your all-time highs last week. This was we ended up having this nice push up and towards your all-time highs last week, whereas the ES was well above your all-time highs. It just kind of showed the divergence that we've had in between these two names on the major indices. But key levels moving forward that I have marked out, at least last week, was our 23,900. Key levels coming to this week is going to be this 2450. So as you can see here for the NQ, this is your previous all-time highs. This is the level where we had multiple touches here as well. As long as you can maintain now above your 24050, we can expect continuation towards the upside. You can see kind of buyers stepping in here with Tesla pushing this back towards the upside. Key levels now, right, as I mentioned, it's just going to be your previous all-time highs pivot point, 24050 for continuation higher. So for the NQ, as long as you can maintain really above this level here on the higher time frames, we can expect continuation towards the upside. Next key levels that we can have marked out is just going to be your previous week's highs, which is going to be this 24,150 here for the NQ. If you go into the QQQ, key levels that we have marked out is going to be this 585. So this is a very key level. Similar thing here to the NQ. This is your last week's key pivot level. We got above it. Nice continuation towards the upside. Now the levels we'll have marked out here as well is just going to be your previous day high. So for the QQQ, this is what we can have marked out. Our 587 previous day highs. We also have your Thursday's highs marked out along with their Friday's lows. So those are going to be the key levels moving forward. What we like to see coming into today on the QQQ, we have a couple scenarios we want to see play out really above your previous day highs for continuation towards the upside. Or another scenario is, right, consolidation, kind of the first original scenario, and break above. So you're either going to look for the break above right away, retest for continuation higher, or consolidation, right, reclaim later into the session, base above your previous day highs for continuation. So either way, we're going to keep an eye out on the reaction off your previous day highs coming into market open, which is going to be this 587. So the 587 is going to be key on the QQQ. As for the SPY, I'll probably have to refine this level a little bit more, but now the key level here for the SPY is just going to be your Thursday's highs along with your previous day highs. Let me actually just do that right now. So we have this level marked out, which is your previous day highs, and then we can also have your Thursday's highs marked out, which is going to be this 658.20. So these are the two levels I have for the SPY coming to market open, right? Break above, hold for continuation, or now it's going to be the hold of your Thursday's highs for this continued pushback towards the upside. So that's what I have for SPY coming into market open in the major indices today. Let's now finally go on to the main names today, which is going to be Tesla. We'll take a look at the thesis coming into this week. Grab some water. All right. All right, thesis for this coming week. So this is for Tesla. Tesla breaking outside of this weekly base towards the upside. Huge move towards the 400 key psych. What I like to see next week, what I like to see coming to next week is continuation. We have this daily gap above. This one is super strong. Really, the next levels on this way is all the way back up and towards 420. So for Tesla, you can see we've had this really weekly base finally breaking outside with a lot of volume here as well. On Friday, really strong candle close. We're expecting continuation coming into Monday. And I can see we already have this gap up. We already have this gap up on the chart, and now we're actually continuing higher here in the pre-market. So for Tesla, as you can see here, the levels that I have marked out, let me actually just get rid of this here now as well. Oops. So as you can see here, if we go into the daily chart or if we go into the weekly chart, you can see higher lows being built, finally broke outside of this weekly base. The next levels that we have is really all the way back up and towards your 420. Now it's actually your 440, and eventually it's going to be that all-time highs key pivot levels. So for Tesla, you can see really strong push towards the upside. Now we'll take a look at some key levels that we have marked out. So as you can see here in the pre-market, we're up about 7.5% here. So really big push here on Friday, some consolidation. We're kind of just around this 400 key psych, and then another big push here in the pre-market as well, with some news that we had with Elon buying some more shares. And now you can see this one's continuing higher. So for Tesla coming into today, whenever you have these big moves, either in the pre-market or in the after hours, it does make it for a little bit of a trickier New York session, and it does make it a little bit more difficult to day trade. But the key levels that I have marked out on Tesla coming to market open is your 401. We also have your 420 and your 433. So these are the key levels we can have marked out. I'm personally just going to mark out this full kind of area, this full down close candle. I'm actually just going to mark out this. From the bodies, I'm just going to mark out this 420 here, higher time frame key psych level. If you go into the daily chart, you can see it's essentially just this key pivot high. So I have a couple few levels marked out on Tesla, your 420 key pivot high all the way back from February. And then I'm just going to keep marking out these old daily highs as well, which is back from February or January of earlier this year, which is going to be your 440. And we also have your 436. So these are the levels I have marked out here on Tesla. So I can mark these, extend them over, and I can go back onto the lower time frame. So levels that I have marked out towards the upside, 433 and 440 here on Tesla. You can see we already had such a big push here in the pre-market. We're fairly far away from now your previous day highs, which is your Friday's highs from last week, 396. So what are we going to have to do? We're going to have to base it off of intraday price action. So coming to market open, the only way I look for a potential day trade here on Tesla is if it has a mini pullback or a dip and rip. So essentially, right, we're going to have a big push higher. IV is going to be pretty elevated. So what you're going to be looking for is essentially a dip and rip. And let's say we had the 430 con. So the 430s are currently out of the money. So you'd be looking for any sort of pullback, right? Buyers stepping in, that first pullback getting bought up. Look for the 430s, right? You kind of have that mini IV flush for opening drive play back towards the upside. So for Tesla coming to market open, levels that I'm going to have drawn out is just going to be now your down close candle here on the higher time frames, 420. If you can pull back down in towards 420, that first dip get bought up, we can be looking for a trade back up and towards your pre-market highs and above, being that 433. So we'll keep an eye out on Tesla. This is going to be our main watch coming to market open. We're only going to trade this if we can have a pullback, since now we already had such a big push on Friday, big push in the pre-market. If it just pops right off the bat and continues higher, we're going to be a little bit more hands-off now, since the IV is going to be elevated after this gap up that we're going to have. So the dip and rip is the only scenario that we can be looking for here on Tesla. Levels that I have marked out, I might have to refine even these levels more in the pre-market, but what I have here is your 420. I'm also going to mark out this pivot here as well. This is really based off of the pre-market, and it's based off the 1 minute time frame. We'll see how strong this level is coming to market open, but we also have this 424. And then for the levels towards the upside, we have your pre-market highs along with your 433. So a few scenarios, as I mentioned, let me just kind of lay it out once more, right? Kind of the immediate dip and rip. for a push towards the upside. Another scenario, dip all the way back down and towards that 420, right? Opening range back towards the upside here as well. So that's what we'll be looking for this push back up and towards your pre-market highs and above. And we can look to target 430 along with our 433 towards the upside. So this is going to be my main watch on Tesla coming to market open, right? We are fairly overextended, so we have to keep that in mind. We very much well could just consolidate. I do expect a potential just opening drive play and then consolidation, but you can see here for Tesla now, right? Big push up on Thursday. Nice breakout here on Friday and then another gap up. We haven't had any sort of consolidation or pullback, so we have to be a little bit more cautious. But as I mentioned, as long as you can maintain above key levels in this case, which will be 420 along with your 424, we can be looking for that first push towards the upside here on Tesla coming into Monday morning. Let's go on to the few other tickers that we have coming to this week. As for Nvidia, right now you can see that Nvidia bounced nicely off the low of the range being the 166. This one pushed back higher here where I'd like to see a move back towards your all-time highs. A break above 180 will send this towards your all-time highs key levels. So if we're looking at Nvidia here on the daily chart, the key levels that we have marked out is really this 172, and then we have other levels marked out here as well. So for Nvidia, if we go into the 1 hour chart, you can see this fairly clear. Key levels that we have marked out is our all-time highs, 184. We have this level, which is our earnings low. Multiple touches here, and now you can see, right, nice push up last week, consolidation, ultimately actually broke underneath here in the pre-market, pushing this towards the downside, right in towards key levels of support being that 172. So now for Nvidia, really what I like to see is this confirm this kind of higher low potential inverse head and shoulders off this 172 for this continued pushback towards the upside. So go back onto the 15-minute time frame. You can see some sort of buyer stepping in off this 172. Now what I like to see here as well is really going to be the reclaim back above your previous day lows. It's actually quite far away, but the key levels that we have marked out here on Nvidia is just going to be this 176 pivot level. You can see it's your Fridays, Thursdays lows, multiple touches from Wednesday here as well. So for some upside, key levels that we have in this case is going to be this 176. So potential break above, reclaim back above your 176 hold for this continued push up and towards your high that we created here on Friday and potentially above. So for Nvidia, longs look good if we can reclaim back above this 176. You also could be looking for kind of the higher low off of your 172.50. That's also in play for this continued pushback towards the upside here as well. So those are the levels I have for Nvidia. It's supposed to be Nvidia, not Tesla, coming to market open 176, and we also have your 172. As for Apple dropped last week back in towards key levels of support. What I like to see coming to next week is a reclaim back above 235. That'll be the level that we need to see Apple above if you want to see a move back towards the upside. So for Apple, key levels that we have, as I mentioned, is going to be this 235. It basically invalidates this lower high along with this potential head and shoulders that we've created. So for Apple, as you can see here last week, broke underneath key levels, came right back down in towards key levels of support, which is our 224, right? Higher time frame, still bullish on this one, right? We're above key levels, higher lows are being built. What I'd like to see here on Apple is now this really push back up in towards your 240 and above. So if you go into the daily chart, if you go into the 1 hour chart here, right, what we have is this, right, potential head and shoulders. Now we invalidated this head and shoulders. So what I like to see is, right, the hold above your 235 for continuation towards the upside. So for Apple, go back onto the 15-minute time frame here. Now what I'd like to see, hold above your previous day highs for continuation. So Apple, really nice push up here on Friday. Some buyers stepping in here in the pre-market as well. So what I like to see, really maintain now above your 235, which is now your previous day highs for continuation back up and towards your 239 and your 240 here on the higher time frame. So that's what we have for Apple. If now we can maintain above this 235, we can expect this to continue towards the upside. So we'll keep an eye out on your 235 coming into today here on this ticker. As for AMD bouncing off the low of the range being 150. You can see that buyers are stepping in off this level. I like to see this name make higher lows off this level of support for a move back towards the upside. Key levels will be your 168. So for AMD, as for AMD here on the daily time frame, key levels that we have marked out, as I mentioned, 148 along with this 168. If you go back onto the 1 hour time frame, so these are the levels I have here on the chart. We can also mark out another level here as well, which is essentially just going to be the level that we broke down from. So I just mark out this level, which is going to be this 162. You can see how many touches we've had, end up turning this level into resistance last week. So for AMD, at least coming to today, coming to this week, we like to see minimum reclaim back above your 162 for this continued push back up and towards your 166 and above. At a minimum, right, higher lows are being built. Now we'd like to see the reclaim back above your 162. At least on the 1 hour chart or the daily chart, we are finding some buyers here at this 150. So I like to see, right, higher lows now be formed off this 150 for a potential continued push back towards the upside. As for a few other tickers, Meta not really doing too much. It's right around your key levels of support, being that 750. What I like to see moving forward is the reaction that we have off this level, but you can see buyers so far stepping off this level. So really not too much to talk about here on Meta. This one hasn't been talked about ever since it made new all-time highs with earnings, but just kind of consolidating around this general area. If you look at this 1 hour chart, really there's kind of been no opportunity on Meta lately. Let's go on to Amazon. What I wanted to see on Amazon was the break above and hold above that 235. You can now see we're currently rejecting off that level. This one is right back inside the range. So far, we're building higher lows. We filled the gap towards the downside. Next levels for a reclaim will be your 230. So for Amazon, key levels that we have marked out on a chart, similar thing. We kind of just filled this gap back towards the downside, not too much to talk about, right? Higher lows are being built, so I am still fairly bullish on this ticker. But if you go into the 1 hour time frame, nothing's really clear. We kind of came back up and towards this earnings high, and you can see a little bit of rejections. But as for Amazon now, key levels are just going to have marked out 229, right, 236, and they also have 220 towards the downside. So those are the levels I have for those tickers. Now I'll go over some other names here as well. So if you guys do have any charts, you guys can drop them in the chat. All right. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can drop them in the chat and I'll go over some of those. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the watch list that I post every single day coming to market open, that one's in the description. Of course, if you guys haven't joined the wait list for the event at the end of the month, that one you guys can also join in the description as well. Let's see. Let's read some comments here as well. Is this truly live? Yeah. Yes. Drop a like. Let's see. On average, what percentage of your trades on average, what percentage of your trades do you lose? It depends on the month. If it's a hotter month, I'll have a 60% win rate. Slower, on average, around 50%, right? Anywhere between 40 to 60. As for the amount that I try and lose per trade, as for the day trading wise, if you're trading the break and retest, I always mention you don't really need to give it more than 10 or 20% per trade. Email, yeah, if I have time, I'll check that one out. Let's see. Bro, you tell me the good that identify the direction. Is this anyone good trade? Yeah, so that's basically what we're looking for coming into market open. That's the logic and thesis behind it. All right. Let's go over some of these names here. So for Oracle, this one kind of dropped last week. We end up having earnings, broke underneath this key pivot level, which was your really 310 psych. And now you can see we're continuing to push lower. We're actually halfway inside the gap. So the key levels over here, what we have is your 306. And then now we can also mark out your previous day lows here as well. So we can mark this out and drag this over. So for Oracle, coming to market open, what you like to see is a few things here. If you want to see buyers step in, kind of hold above your previous day lows for this push back up and towards your 300. Or now it's going to be kind of the base above your previous day lows for a push back up in towards that 305 here on the higher time frame. So that's what we have for Oracle. Higher time frames, right? We just had earnings, right? Big push, 33% on this day. So now we're just kind of pulling back. So we'll see if that next leg gets bought up. Key levels minimum, it would have to reclaim would be this 305. As for AVGO, this one looks good coming into market open or basing above your 356, right? Nice push towards the upside with earnings, consolidation, right? Flag pattern, nice continue push higher here as well. We're now basing above your earnings high. Another flag here. So what we like to see here on AVGO, maintain above your 356, continuation up and towards your 372 and above. So keep an eye out on AVGO, right? Previous resistance now turning into support, consolidation, low volume pullback here as well for this push up and towards your 372. That's definitely in play. As for Palantir, key levels that we have here as well is just going to be your previous week's highs. Sorry, it's going to be your highs that we created from a few days ago. So you can see on Palantir, at least last week, nice continue push higher. We end up breaking out on Friday later into the day. And now we had this nice push higher. Key levels that we're going to have marked out 168. Higher time frame key pivot point, previous resistance. Now we like to see hold. We like to see really Palantir maintain above your 168.50 for a potential push up and towards your previous day highs and above, which will be your 170.50. If you're looking at this one here on the higher time frames, we're just basically back inside the area that we broke down from. So for Palantir, key levels that we broke down from is this level right here, your 172. So you can see nice kind of push towards the upside, right back into the area we broke down from. Now, if you want to see some upside, right now it's going to be the reclaim back above your 172 for this continued push back towards upside. So that's what we have here for Palantir, really coming into today and this week here as well. Those are the levels we have marked out. As for as for Hood, this one recently hit your all-time highs. A little bit of rejection off your all-time highs, right? You can see on this daily chart, we're pulling back just a little bit. Higher time frame, still fairly bullish, making higher lows here as well. As for my support levels here on Hood, is your 114. You can see multiple touches here on Hood. You can see buyers are so far stepping in. What I like to see is two scenarios: defend your 114, continuation back towards upside, or now it's going to be the break above your 117 hold for this continued push back up and towards your 120 and above. So that's what I have for Hood coming to market open. This one we like to see, right, reclaim primarily this 117 level for this continued push back towards upside. That's what we have for Hood. And then SoFi, one of my main watches coming into market open, and this week here as well. We do have FOMC. We'll see how that shapes up with the rate cuts. But for SoFi, this one with the potential news catalyst coming up here as well has room up and towards your all-time high. So for SoFi, we've been talking about this one finally looking like it's going to head for that all-time highs push. You can see how many times we've rejected off of your really 2640 level. You can see multiple rejections last week here as well. Finally had a nice daily candle close here on Friday, gapping up above this level. Really the next levels for me is going to be your all-time highs, 2824. So for SoFi, you can see we're essentially trying to break outside of this range here on the 1 hour time frame. Now we've broken outside this range. What I'd like to see is continuation up and towards our all-time highs, 2824. So for SoFi, this can be one of our main watches coming into this week. Key level that I have marked out, 2640. And then other levels we can have marked out here as well is just going to be your previous week's highs. And we can drag this down in towards this other wick here as well, which is going to be your 2680s. So coming to market open, a few things. Break above your previous day highs, hold above your previous day highs along with your last week's highs. Which is going to be this 2680s. Really, this is the only scenario I like to see here. As long as you can maintain above your 2680s. Of course, another scenario, pull all the way back down in towards that 2640s and still be bullish for continuation. So those are the levels that I have marked out on SoFi coming into today. Let me go over some other tickers and answer some questions here as well. As for Open, this one's still holding up. Do you typically trade out of the money? If so, how far out do you go? If I trade for my strike price that I choose, if I'm day trading, I'll choose one out the money or one with most volume. If you're swing trading, you're basically going to choose where your target is or where you're looking to target. As for Open, This one has been fairly strong. You can see on the weekly time frame daily chart here as well. Kind of had that nice base, push towards the upside, inside bar day here as well. Hit our main targets, which is essentially your IPO low, which is your 1050. Now, if you want to see continuation, we like to see above 1050, but other levels that we could have marked out, really, in this case, I'm just going to mark out this kind of pre-market or after hours levels, and we can extend it to now. It's going to be your previous day lows, which is your 880. So coming to market open here on open, if you want to see continuation higher, right, either the bounce off of your previous day lows for a push towards upside, another scenario, kind of consolidation, opening range for a push up and towards your previous day highs, or now it'd be right break above your previous day highs, continuation towards upside. So for open, as long as you can maintain above your 880s, right, you'd like to see this continue push back up and towards your 1060s here and above. This one's still holding key levels on the higher time frames. As for Shopify, yeah, a lot more consolidation. Key levels on Shopify have is your 144. This is due for a potential bigger move here in the market soon. Right, you can see kind of liquidity being built up to both sides. What we like to see is the break above your 144 or break back underneath and push back towards the downside. So levels I have marked out, as I mentioned, really this 144 key level. Now we like to see, right, as I mentioned, break above your 144 on the daily chart for a potential move higher, or now it's going to be the daily candle close below. Let me see. Let me scroll down here as well. A lot of, let's see. You said 10 to 20% risk. Is it 10? No, definitely not. Right? If you're risking 10%, that means you're risking 10% per trade. Definitely you do not. No, it's 10 to 20% on the actual risk amount. So let's say, for example, you trade, you only have to give it a 10 to 20% stop on the options contracts. All right, definitely don't spam the chat here as well. We'll go over UNH. All right. Let's go over UNH and go over a few other tickers. So for UNH, this one, nice push up last week. You can see got back above your 300. Let's just look at this here on the daily chart. So for UNH, right, nice kind of base, nice breakout towards the upside. Key levels for UNH is right all the way back up towards this daily gap fill, which is your 371. So those are the levels I have marked out towards the upside. Key level, as you can see here, is 371. Other levels now that we have marked out on the 15-minute time frame after this nice push higher, key levels that we're going to have marked out is really just this low, which is your 352. So it's basically your previous day lows, multiple touches here as well. What I like to see, as long as you can maintain above your 352, you can expect this to continue back towards the upside. So as you can see here for UNH, we can even refine this level if we like here as well, basically from your Tuesday's highs, and we can kind of just refine this for your 350. So at the exact 350, all right, hold above this level for a continuation up and towards your previous day highs and above in this case. So UNH looks really good. Previous resistance turning into support here. Let's go on to a few other tickers. Yeah, I went over most of those tickers, right? Hood already went over SoFi. Do you run a WhatsApp group? No, I personally don't. CRWV, do you have any certain rules for trade management that determines taking partial post 1 to 2 or runners? Perhaps share some insight and video about it. Do you have any rules for trade management for partials, right? So the thing about trading, having trailers or partials, right? You never know if price is going to continue higher. So that's why you're going to sell at key levels and then leave some trailers. So for something, let's say, for example, like Tesla, right? You want to sell at key levels and then you want to hold some trailers. As for the risk reward, right? A 1 to 2, right? Most of your trades you prefer to have continuation, and you like the high day or your first target at least offer a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio. So you want to be looking for a minimum 1 to 2, and then you can look for continuation above that level if it does want to continue higher after your first original target. As for CRWV, this one, nice push up last week, coming all the way back down, essentially into our retest level, which is the area that we broke out from, right? You can kind of mark out this general area. Now you can see some buyers stepping in here on Friday. You like to see the reclaim back above now. It's going to be your previous day highs for a move back towards the upside. So levels that we could have marked out in this case is just going to be your 115. So we can draw your high that we created from its previous days, I'll just mark it out into this level. So 115 is going to be key. Any sort of pushback higher, right? Reclaim back above your previous day highs. Hold for this continued pushback towards upside. That's what I have on CRWV. We'll go over a couple other ones here. So MU still looks good for continuation higher. This one, really solid push up and towards your all-time highs last week, as you can see, right? From really all the way from your 130 straight push up and towards your all-time highs. I do expect a little bit more kind of consolidation. You can see once it hit your all-time highs, it's been stalling a little bit more now. So key levels here for MU after hitting your all-time highs. You can see price is starting to slow down just a little bit. Now the key levels is going to be that 156. So for MU, as long as you can maintain above your 156, this is your previous all-time highs. We can expect this to continue towards upside. So this is the key level that we're going to have marked out. As for TSM, key levels that we're going to have marked out here as well is your 258. So your 258, as long as you can maintain above this level, we like to see this for a continued pushback up and towards your previous day highs and above 261. So that's the level that I have marked out on TSM. As for my watches now, I'm just going to go over my game plan once more. Let me actually just go over this. Let me go over gold and a couple other tickers, and then I'll call it a day. So for gold, this one's consolidating, getting ready for that kind of next leg towards the upside, reclaim back above your 3630s. Higher lows are being built. What I'd like to see now is really this push back up and towards this key pivot high, which is going to be your 36 at 56 and potentially back up and towards your all-time highs here on this ticker. Okay. Let's see. I think people are doing WhatsApp signals with your name. Yeah, most likely. There's a lot of scammers out there, right? Telegram impersonators. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think I can do anything about it with Meta. The only thing is to report it. Yeah, with Instagram, there's so many scammers and impersonators out there. Just understand that I'll never message you for any copy trader service. Anything that sounds sketchy, most likely it's a scam, right? No copy trader. No signal bot, no nothing like that. So if they're asking for money via crypto, right, it's for sure a scam. Okay, let me go over my game plan coming into today once more, and then I am going to get ready for market open. So game plan here for the overall indices, right, is really the reaction that we have off your previous day high. So for SPY, right, higher lows are still being built. You can see we're back at your previous day highs here. Key level is going to be the 659. If you can get above your 659, hold above this level, we can see continuation higher. Another long scenario above your 658, continuation towards the upside. We'll be a little bit more cautious right off the bat if SPY does kind of reject off of your previous day highs. Then we'll be a little bit more cautious. It's just going to come probably just back inside of its previous day's range here. So key level is going to be this previous day highs, 659. Similar thing here to the QQQ. Key level previous day highs here as well. If you can get above your previous day highs, hold. We can see this nice continued push towards the upside above your 587.80s for continuation higher. Really, that's going to be key. If we kind of reject off this level, right, similar thing, it's just going to come back in between, most likely, its previous day's range. As for my main watch coming to market open, Tesla, this one, we'll see what shapes up coming into market open. It already had a big move on Friday. Another big move in the pre-market here as well. So we'll see the price action within the first really 15 to 30 minutes here on this ticker. As for the levels that I have marked out is going to be your pre-market level, which is your 424. And we can also mark out your 420 here as well. So for Tesla, if I am bullish, I'm going to be looking for a dip and rip. I want to see, right, price drop first and then push higher. What I don't want to see is price just kind of move right off the bat. So either the dip down in towards your 424, continuation towards the downside, continuation back towards the upside, or the dip all the way back up and down in towards your 420 for this continued push back up and towards your pre-market highs as well. So we'll be looking for the dip and rip here on Tesla coming to market open. That is going to be the main watch. As for Nvidia, this one looks good for kind of a swing actually here on the higher time frames, right? Maintaining above your 172. Potential reclaim is in play for a push back up and towards your really 180 and above. So keep an eye out on Nvidia coming to market open, key level 176 along with this 172. As for AMD, key levels that you're going to have marked out previous day highs along with this 162 for a continued push higher. I do like Apple here as well, so we'll keep an eye out on Apple. Showing some strength here in the pre-market, reclaiming back above key levels here as well. In this case, it's going to be your previous day high retest, your 235 for continuation. So Apple, along with Tesla, my two favorite coming to market open. As for a few other tickers, really not doing too much. Google actually really nice above your previous day highs here. You can see some continuation. So this is what's holding up the overall indices as well. But key levels for really Google now, previous day highs. Previous day highs 242, a little bit farther away, but for Google now, you can also mark out pre-market levels 244 for continuation towards upside. And then we also have a few other tickers, really, yeah, kind of Google. We can move this up. So Google, Apple, Tesla, main ones. I do like SoFi for a push up in towards your all-time highs. 28.24. So we'll keep an eye out on SoFi coming to market open here as well. Now it's going to be above your last week's weekly high for continuation up and towards your potential all-time highs here. So SoFi looks good, and the rest of the tickers, Oracle has to reclaim back above your 305. AVGO looks good above your 356, and even Palantir will keep an eye out on above your 168.20. So yeah, those are the levels that I have coming into today. We do have FOMC later into the week. That is going to be on Wednesday. So I would expect the indices to slowly push towards the upside if we do have a move. As for the main watches, we'll just keep looking at Tesla. We talked about this last week, but moving forward for Tesla, there's going to be plenty of opportunities on this ticker really coming to the end of the year since we do have room back up and towards your all-time highs now. So we'll keep an eye on Tesla. It's been basing for a few months. We'll look for opportunities to both sides. Right now, currently, of course, it is towards the upside, but moving forward, once it does consolidate or have a pullback, it's going to offer a nice opportunity. So we'll keep an eye out on this name primarily moving forward. Apple looks good and a few other tickers as well. So we'll keep an eye out on those ones. So that is going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open here now. If you guys did enjoy that, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like. If you guys haven't joined the watch list, of course, that one is in the description below. If you guys haven't signed up for our 3-day event at the end of the month as well, the waitlist is in the description below as well. So that is going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open here now, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.